guy. How's my hair look in that camera? Is it good? Is it bunned out? Is it too bunned?
Ian just learned how to do a bun.
I just learned how to do a man bun.
There's like a technique.
Yeah. You have
Is there?
You have to use two different hair ties.
One tight.
I didn't
and
understand
one
that. I just learned this after having long hair for 4 years.
How do you know how to do it?
YouTube.
You just looked up how. That's like a thing.
Yeah, you gotta like start with the ponytail. You just make a ponytail.
Yeah.
And then the second one, you have to twist the hair. And as you're twirling it like a cinnamon bun, you have to keep twirling it. Otherwise, it loses its bun, right? Because it's different. It's not all the same hair length. There's like some hairs.
Yeah.
And you have to do that continuously while getting that twist. And then the second wrapper on it, and then you have the bun.
And if you've never seen Ian with the ponytail, it's pretty hilarious.
Your hair's pretty long right now.
So we might as well just include that in the podcast. But anyways, 3, 2, 1, we're live. Chase Bosworth's in the building.
What's going on?
From New Hampshire to California to Miami. We followed a similar path.
Yeah.
And it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Long overdue.
I know. Too long.
Yeah, a lot. And first off, congratulations on all you've done so far.
Thanks, man.
Just throughout, I've had the luxury of being your friend for a while and seeing straight up the amount of work and persistence you've gone through in terms of building your own brand and launching your music career. I mean, how many Spotify streams are you at today?
I think I should check, but I'm not sure. But I think like 70,000.
70,000
like
and
that.
growing. Your music's
Or more than that. I think over 100,000 between everything.
Between everything, yeah. And you started pretty recently.
Yeah, a year and a half ago is when I like really dove in to doing it. Yeah, it's different too because like I'm used to doing like business stuff where like you're selling a product, you know what I mean? So with this, it would like the change for me was like I'm the product. And it's almost like it's weird. Like it's just different. Like yeah.
You're the product.
Yeah, where it's like I'm promoting myself.
Everyone wants to take a hit.
Yeah, but it's different. So it's like if you have a product or whatever, you can kind of like hide behind it in a way. But like I have to like I'm in the forefront. I'm the one that's like I'm pushing me.
Yeah, because I still want to see you perform live.
Yeah, which I haven't done. You know what I mean? So it's like definitely want to and I'm excited to. But yeah, the biggest like yeah. I mean, I don't know why I'm like jumping into hurdles right now, but it's like
right. No, I mean the biggest reality is that you're building your own brand, you're building your own personality. You always have to be on. You have to like check what you're wearing all the time, making sure that the image is right.
Yeah.
And for what you've been able to create with the music videos, with the resources you have, is incredible.
Yeah.
Ari does a great job helping out with that too. She crushes it.
Dude, she helps a lot with like everything. So she does the cover arts, she does the videos, the shoots. I mean, she helped, literally everything. Like,
it's a little dream team going on.
Dude, it's
over
awesome.
here.
Yeah. And like the main thing is like, it's fun. Like I love doing it. And like I started when I was 17, but never like consistently did it. And like a year and a half ago, kind of made the jump, or we're like going on 2 years now, but I just like decided like, this is definitely what I want to do. I'm super interested in it. And then I just started making music, and that's what I did. So like the first like 8 months, I didn't drop anything. It was like strictly just, it might have been a year, but it was like just creating, trying to like, the thing with me, I just get like obsessed over things. So it's like,
well, you have an addictive personality.
Yeah, some would say. And
right now you're directing it in a really good manner.
Yeah.
But I truly think you're going to be successful as a musician because every super successful musician has had a drug problem or has gone through some crazy incident in their life. Yeah. It's almost a prerequisite.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It is. And it's different. It's like I have a hard time. That's like another thing is just like I don't want to use that, you know what I mean, as like a way to make it. So it's like I'm trying to figure that out. Like, because it's obviously that is a part of my story and whatnot, but it's not like it's not
there's so much more
to it, you know what I mean? And I don't really want to be known as that, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the stuff that I went through, I learned a lot through it, and I figured out a lot of like what I want, but it's not necessarily like
is there a way to use it as a foundation, but really it's just the foundation? It's basically saying these are the roots, but now I'm a straight oak.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like it's not like the thing is like a lot of my songs, like I talk about it, you know what I mean? Like a lot of it's like drug you know, or like at least like that behavior, like that mindset. But it's really like when I started doing it, it's been almost 2 years. So that was when I last got clean too. So it was like when the first music I was making was about drugs, you know, and like not in like a bad or like glorifying it, but it was like overcoming
This is my
it, trying to figure
situation.
out- yeah,
This
yeah.
is what's up.
I mean, it
This is
was
what's on
my
my
life,
mind.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so my whole life was, you know, I was around it. I mean, my brothers were addicts, and
But I don't think that it defines you, like when you
No,
say
no,
that,
no.
because the fact is, though, it's impressive, and I don't think even the way you're describing it as you don't want to be known as that guy,
Yeah,
but it's impressive because so much people don't come around.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
100%.
Like we
And,
see
like,
overdoses happening all the time.
all the time.
I mean,
it's-
Sky, how many
it's
times in
insane.
the last month have you just been, oh snap, X has died, and it's just turns out it's from drugs? It's happened at least twice.
Yeah, more than I would even want to hear,
Yeah.
but it's happening.
It's happened. It's bad. Like people you went to high school with that you haven't heard from in a while, and it's what happened to that person, and now they are dead.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's
it's more
crazy.
common than ever, and like yeah, dude, it's wild. I mean, it's in everything, and
I saw
I'm
this
grateful.
meme that showed it was Lucky Charms, like Lucky Charms cereal, but it's actually just straight fentanyl, but they mask it in a Lucky Charms box when they ship it.
Oh my god,
It's gnarly.
dude, it's gnarly. I mean, yeah, they'll do anything to get it here, but it's, dude, yeah, it's crazy. It's just like now I'm in a position too where like musically I'm trying to like steer away from that in a way, and a lot of it was like it was so heavily like influenced, like the music was for that, but now that, you know, it's been almost 2 years and
You got it out of your system, even with
kind
the
of got out of my
music,
system
yeah.
in a way, and like I want to expand, and I'm doing other things that I've never done, you know, and like everything, like even if I mean, you know, it was 10 years of drug use, so it was like even when I had like a few spurts here and there, it was like it was still like I was still in that life, you know, like in a rehab, in a sober living, like in certain scenarios or around that, you know, people with that same mindset too. So it's like now that I'm, you know, trying to find a different path, like, because a lot of it, like for writing specifically, is like I have a really hard time writing about like happy music or like making happier stuff for some reason. And it's not for some reason, but it's, I think that's what it is. And like when I'm making music, it's like I make it because I like it. You know, I love doing it.
But a lot of times, music, people want to feel something.
You want to feel it, and like yeah, when you're making it, you know what I mean. So it's like it's not. I get a lot more out of it when it's like more like I'm pulling some more emotions out or something like that. And obviously, there's times in the studio where like you're having fun, like you want to make something fun, and which I've done. But for the most part, it's like my favorite sessions are those like where you make it and you're like, holy fuck, like this is fire, you know, like I feel it, and like it's something I can literally, I go home and I listen to it and I'm just like, this is like exactly how I wanted it to be, you know, without being like so direct and like so you know, because I don't like say drugs, like say what type of drugs or whatever, and it could be about a girl, it could be whatever, but that's like the stuff I like making is like where you listen to it and you relate to it in your own way. But like for me, I made it for that. Like it's about drugs or it's about whatever, you know?
Well, in a way, it's musicians are so, I'm envious of them because they're able to express themselves in such a in your face manner and really just lay their feelings out in front of everybody, which is a naked feeling.
It's tough.
But at the same time, it must be so liberating.
It is. It's cool. Like I don't like particularly talking about it too, like a lot, but it's, unless it's like, if it's somebody that I can like at least like sense or see that's like has like, I can't have conversations like this with people that like have never done certain things.
Right. But you
know what
have
I mean?
empathy for the whole
For sure.
process.
For the whole process. And like,
But it must get it must get old, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you can only make so many songs about like the same thing. Like, you know, so.
Have you found the new inspo for sort of the next chapter of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, another reason too. So like, which I've learned just from making, I literally have a song in every genre, but it's like, you know, when you're making like trap music, it's like there's only really certain things, like it boxes you in with lyrics. Like there's certain things that you talk about on like a trap beat.
Making trap music?
No, I mean like Lonely is, you know, like I have a few songs that like have that trap feel, and it's like, it's more like just like street talk, like type of stuff. And then that's why like now I'm exploring, I'm doing a lot more like acoustic stuff, more like folk pop stuff, like more heavily into that, because it allows me to like make other things. Like I can talk about other things, at least for me. Like it's easier to, you know what I mean? So it's like it's more of like a lane for where like I can talk about other things. And but like even like Better Days, like Better Days is a great example of like, it's more of like a ballad type song, but it's like that is, and when I'm saying drugs I mean like addiction, you know. But it's like that song was for me like probably still to this day my favorite song I've ever made, and it was my second day in an actual studio ever. So, and this was, I had like 40 days clean. I literally went in, did the first, so like I booked a session in LA, no idea what I was doing, and like the only time I've ever recorded was like on a home setup, no idea how to mix. I like literally would record and not mix, like it would just be like raw vocals, and I wasn't even singing at this point. It was just like rap stuff, you know. And like I'd have like a 2 week or like a month spurt of being clean, and then I would get back to it. So it was like, since I was 17 I've been making music every year, but it was like 3 weeks out of every year is when I made music. So like that's all I did. And then when this last time I got clean, and I, you know, Ari was there too, and I was just like, I think I had like 40 days clean probably, and I was like, I want to do something, you know, different. I want something that excites me, like something that's really hard to obtain. And when music is super, super difficult to like, especially get to a certain level and doing it. But it was mainly just like, I wanted to do it and like see, not even like at a success level, just like for me, like what's the best music that I could make? You know what I mean? Like just for like a self-accomplishment type thing. So I ended up hitting up a producer in LA, and just like randomly, and I was like, hey man, like I just want to get into the studio. And so I hit him up, and like I was like, hey, like I want to work with you, like is there something we can do, like maybe you book a session like in a studio. So he was like, yeah man, come through, like I can book at one of these studios, and like an engineer's there too, so we can mix your vocals. So like I was like, all right, cool. And we like did it like a week later, and I flew out there, and like never recorded with anyone in the room, never did anything like that. So we literally fly out there, it was just me, get on a plane, 40 days clean. I'm still like not fully through detox, like I'm still like shaky, like just my mind's all over the place. So I get into the session, and like I had like shit like pre-written, like ready to go, because I was like so nervous too. So I was like, fuck, like I really don't know what I'm doing. And like, so I get in there, and he's like playing loops, which is basically just like, if you don't know what a loop is, it's basically, you know, it's like, it could be even like 10 seconds long, but it's like a guitar riff or something, and they just like continually, like it's just, they extend it
like
out.
a circle, just loop.
Yeah.
Loop,
And it just keeps going, and then he'll build the drums behind it, or any, you know, percussion or whatever. So he starts playing those, and he was like, do you like any of these? And I was like, yeah, I like that one. And like not thinking like anything of it, but he was like, all right, cool, let's put it on. He was like, hop in there and, you know, show me what you can do. And I was like, fuck, like I don't know what the fuck I can do, you know? So I like had no idea what I was doing. Yeah, and I get in there, and I'm just like, you know, I just kind of like let loose and just felt what was coming out. And it was all like, there was no lyrics, like it was all like gibberish.
Did you feel nervous in there, or did
super nervous at first, and then it was like, yeah, I just like could, because it was my first time like hearing my like vocals. Like I wasn't before, like I didn't use autotune, I didn't use anything. Like I do use everyone uses autotune. So it was like, it was that like the crisp like vocals, like I could hear myself clearly, and it was like for the first time, and it was like, it almost was like a game, you know. I was like, fuck, like let's see what I can do. So I was just playing around my voice, and started like trying to like do, you know, like sing and stuff, and it
So the studio setup makes a huge difference.
It does for sure. Like, but it's like you can do that stuff with even the setup you have here. You know what I mean? Like it's so advanced now that like anyone can get a setup and just like learn how to do it. I just didn't. You know what I mean? I just kind of like jumped the gun and was like, all right, if I want to make the best shit that I possibly can. I mean, I'm 30, so I was like, I don't want 5 years of like trying to figure it out. I was like, what if I just end up, you know, and I like financially I got in a good place. So I was like, I'm just gonna start booking these sessions and learn from people that already know what they're doing, instead of me trying to like go on YouTube or like teach myself.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So I was like, it's just going to save me time. And that's what I thought. So it was like, I go in and, but it is a difference. It's a difference like who's like using the equipment. So like TK is like, he's my guy, and he's my engineer in LA, and yeah, he's just, dude, he's phenomenal. And it's just like, there's a lot to it. It's not like I use a ton of stuff on it, but it's a lot of EQing and like which anyone would use. and you know, the reverb and like all the just the, it's all simple stuff, but it's like if you don't know what you're doing, it's not gonna sound
What was
good.
the result of that first session?
So the first session was, I ended up making like 2 references, I'm pretty sure, and dude, there was like barely any lyrics. It was all like freestyle stuff, but like a reference is basically like you're just figuring out melodies and like how it sounds. So like in the beginning when I would record, it was like I would literally just go in there and just like for 5 minutes straight just play the beat through, and I'm just gonna like say whatever I want, but it's really just feeling it out and feeling like trying to figure out what the hook is going to sound like, what the verses will sound like. And then we went back and we like chopped it all up and be like, oh, this like 10-second piece is amazing. Let's put this here. This could be the pre-hook or whatever. So we're like arranging the song. And so we did that. And I remember I left and I went to my buddy Nick's house, and he lives here now too, but I was hyped. I was like, dude, this is insane. Like I can, I like, from that first session, I was like, I can do this. Like, and it wasn't even really anything, you know, but it was like just the sound of it. It was like, I knew I could do this stuff. And then the second session, I go in the next day, and that was when he played a loop, and it was Better Days. And that one, it was probably like 50% of the song. Like I went in there and like no idea how I was going to sing or whatever. And I ended up, it was like more of like a ballad type song, but it was, dude, it just like all my emotions came out, and it was the craziest session to this day that I've ever had in my life. And it was like, dude, I like almost cried. Like I did cry listening to it like a week after, and I was just like, I can't believe I made this, you know? And especially like it was so fresh from addiction. It was about addiction, but it was just like, dude, it was the most like empowering feeling for me. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah, it was a huge breakthrough for me. And I did it, and then he ended up adding
from an addiction standpoint, is that feeling something that you could find yourself trying to find it, like get addicted to, like trying to have those breakthrough moments?
Yeah, like that's, I mean, dude, if I'm just like, I obsess over it. I mean, obviously, like anything I do, it's either like if I do something, it's 100% or it's nothing. Like I literally I don't even think about it. So it's like, for me, it was sorry, what was the question?
I guess like you know how I mentioned that life you've
so
got
like
an addicted personality, but you had that breakthrough and you became addicted to that breakthrough. Is it almost like a high?
It is a high. I mean, creating it is insane. Like when you get something good, especially like even just the hook, like you get a crazy hook and it sounds really good, you're like, you're hyped. Like I'm super hyped. The engineer, like if everyone in the room's hyped, like we're gonna make the best product ever. But it's like, it's that feeling that you chase, and that's like almost like, if I go into a session and I make nothing and I come out with nothing, I'm like, I literally won't talk for the rest of the night. Like I'm super upset, like, and just not almost with myself, but then it's like, I've gotten a lot better at it. Cause it's like, I didn't understand, you know, it's not like I want to fix whatever it is. And I'm like, what went wrong? And I'm trying to figure out in my head, like what went wrong? And it's like, nothing did. It's just creating. You know what I mean? Like you have days or like
sometimes
you certain inspiration.
Smashing. You hear about famous musicians, they wrote smash hits in the shower or something, or just like the first try, and then they can't make anything for 3 years.
Dude, it's true. It's definitely true.
That would be so frustrating.
No, it is, and it's like, but when you get it, it's almost like that much. Like when you start understanding it more, like it took me a while, like for sure. And but in the beginning, I would beat myself up. I'd be like super pissed off and just like, I'm never going to be able to make a hit again.
And what have you learned about sort of the process of building a brand in music? Because like, for example, I know this guy that I went to school with, Elliot Tousley, I believe. He owns De Novo Agency.
Yeah,
you know him?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, he was always a hustler.
Yeah.
Him and his friend
Tony.
Yeah. The two of them. Yeah, UNH.
Yeah. They went to Keene High.
Vima. Weren't they?
I don't know.
Were they in Vima?
They went to my high school.
Oh.
So that's how I know them. So they were making music. I actually went. I don't think I ever recorded with Elliot, but I went to his house. I can't remember.
Because I remember he posts all the time, and just because he went to school with me, I always just keep a tab on him. I think I messaged him recently, just being like, "Yo, respect the grind."
Yeah.
But he posted that if you have a hit that's like getting good views, instead of making new music, just double down and triple and quadruple down on that one hit.
Yeah. Which I agree with, you know what I mean? Like you definitely want to get the most out of it. Like dude, everyone does things different. And like the game now is content. Like it's just different. Like 10 years ago, it was all about the music. It was like, there was a message, like for the most part. And now it's just like, it's all recycled stuff. It's just like
It's less music and more personality, you feel?
100%. At least for the
So
most
even during a
part, for people that
podcast
are
is-
popping right now, I would say, yeah, like it's like there's people popping right now that like are strictly popping, like their music's popping because of the content too.
Well, I mean, Sky, you listen to rappers all the time and see the different things that they're doing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, of course. And I basically live on YouTube, just getting all my content from there. And I follow you, and I just see all the shorts that you're making. So yeah, I was actually going to ask that, like, how did you get into that marketing aspect where you're just,
I mean, you kind of have to, like, that's
Right.
the only way to market, unless you want to spend, like, even spending a bunch of money is like, I don't know, like that it's a gift and a curse. It's like, it's so much easier to pop now, like, because of the access, because of the algorithms, because of TikTok, the YouTube shorts, which is growing. Like, there's a lot of other, like, there's just a lot of avenues to do that. But it's also like, it takes a lot of fucking time to do that. You know what I mean? And like when it's on your mind, so it's like, I go to LA and I record and I don't do any of the content. Like that's strictly like my time to like, try to separate it. But then I come home and it's strictly
You're doing the
content.
slicing and dicing and all that?
Huh?
You're actually like making clips.
Making it. I make
Yeah.
all of them. And it's like, dude, it's exhausting. I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. Like it's not my favorite thing to do. It's like, I would rather be, in a perfect world, I'm just making music and I can release it and like,
Yeah, you want to be able to do what you're good at and then have
Yeah.
a team behind you to help produce. Same thing with our
100%.
podcast. That's why we've, Sky and I have a great dynamic because I can come in and just record a podcast and, Sky can do all the editing on the back end and create the short because that's what he's good at, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like, it's having that team. But I used to do it even with the pod on a much micro level, just always making it. And you're just, by the time you're done with it, once you have to actually post it, you're just pissed.
Yeah.
You're like annoyed. You're just like, great, I have to post still.
No,
you almost
dude,
don't even want to post.
No, you
just
don't.
like,
I mean, you get burnt out too. And it's like you're coming up with ideas. Like the biggest thing for me too is like, especially like a song like Better Days, where it's like it means so much to me and there's so much meaning behind it. But then it's like like the TikToks or whatever, like videos that you have to make, it's like you're almost like you're taking a clip from that song and you're like portraying like a story about something else, if that makes sense. Like I was looking for the Better Days or whatever, and then like just that part, and then you're making it, and then it's like showing something that has nothing to do with the song. So you're kind of like, in my way, I feel like sometimes I'm like discrediting my songs or like the message that I actually want to give out. And like granted there's other ways to do it, but it's like to have like it's you're playing the game of the algorithm.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Also,
So it's like,
and you also need to at some point not have too much micromanage control, because there's a lot of times, and a great example is when girls take photos. It could be guys too, but specifically with girls, you could take 100 really good photos. And for example, Sky edits lots of photos for various people, and he'll be like, this is an amazing photo. And most people will say it's amazing. And then someone will be like, no, it's a shit photo. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Because they see themselves a certain way that other people don't.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of get that third party perspective on your stuff.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell you like not what you want to hear, but the truth. You know
100%.
what I mean?
Yeah. And that's another thing is like, dude, it's tough because I get it on the music side. It's like, dude, I get people that hit me up and they're like, yo, you got to make something like this, or they're throwing certain things out. And it's like, it's not like, I'm not necessarily making music to like, for it to pop either. You know what I mean? It's like the music, it's like, I really try to keep it separate because it's like, I have a hard time, which TK knows too, is just like, or Camilo that I record with here. But it's like, I can't, like, if I'm not feeling the song, like, I have a very hard time recording it or, like, putting any sort of, like, energy into it, too.
Have you ever thought about taking music and merging it with something else? And I remember, that video I sent you, Sky, of that kid? He's in LA. He raps about making food, and he goes, "Hey, yo, Cheetah.
Yeah, I know
what's
that guy.
up?"
Yeah, I've seen him.
Like, this guy takes musical talent and applies it to making dinner.
It's cool.
With a puppet. And it's like
cool.
this, it's a very unique thing that no one else is doing. And that definitely helps him blow up.
It does. But that's the thing. So it's like, he has to keep doing that. Like
Right.
that, you know what I mean?
Thing.
If he makes a serious song, no one's going to listen to it. So it's like, that's the tough thing is like, do you give in to the content or like, like I know for a fact I can make a song and do certain things and it will pop. Like I know that. Like if I put like, give me 3 fucking months and I go as hard as I can.
I feel like that's kind of the play though.
But it's like, it's
because once people love you, then you can go outside and and draw a circle, and people would be like, that's the best damn circle I've ever seen.
I know, it's hard to transition. It just depends. Like, it doesn't work for everyone. It's risky, like, in my opinion. Like, it's because I'm like, for me, it's like anything that I'm doing, I really think of like longevity.
Right.
And so it's like you can do something in pop and then try to transition, because that shit won't last. So it's like then you try to transition into something else, but you don't know how that's gonna play out. And it's like that you just kind of like you're throwing your whole thing away if it doesn't work out.
I mean, even when I was building the Damn Good Day YouTube channel, I go on a spurt for like a month. I'm crushing it, making content. I make a video about SIBO and IBS, like that one video I made. It has like 100,000 views now. And it's, if I just wanted to focus on making content about SIBO and gut health,
guy.
I would be a legend, and I could build a whole gut health business doing it. I know that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to.
That's the thing.
I don't want to talk
what do you
about
want?
that.
Like, I don't predict, like the Cheetah song. Like, I don't want to make those songs. Like, it doesn't become fun. Like, so for me, it's like I'm at a point too where it was like, dude, I struggled for so long, and it's like I really like was like everything I do is gonna be something I want to do. Like, I'm done doing things that I don't want to do anymore. Like, I don't. It's like I'm lucky to be here. Like, I shouldn't be here, with the stuff that I was doing. So it's like now that I am, it's like, dude, I don't take anything for granted. Like, I love.
That's why we get. That's why I love hanging out with you, man. You're just always super positive.
Thanks,
You're just the dude. You've seen the devil and made it back from the other side. It per se.
Yeah,
and, it's cool,
dude. But it changed. I mean, it's a gift and a curse. Like, like addiction for me was like, dude, it was very, very hard. I mean, it was like detoxes alone were in, like, you learn a lot about yourself when you're that low and you're in that much pain, and like you don't sleep for 2 weeks. Like, it's like I feel like a lot of people don't realize.
For 2 weeks?
Dude, when you detox, it's bad. And like the first 6 years I was using, 7 years I was using, like both rehabs that I went to.
For people listening, like, what were you using?
So it was, my main thing was opiates. So it was like I would do the Roxys. That was my main thing, and then heroin too. So it would that would mix in. Well, I didn't particularly enjoy it as much, but it was like, pills were my thing.
Is the heroin the straight up needle in the arm?
Yeah, I mean, you can. There's other ways to do it. Yeah, but you can shoot Roxys. You can shoot a lot of things, and a lot of it's smokable.
Is that the most common in terms of like people that are deep in the sauce of drug overdoses?
What, injecting?
Yeah, well, just those two that you were using. Is it mostly opioids and heroin, or is there like another one that really just?
I mean, amphetamines, yeah, for sure. Meth was massive. Like a lot of the places I would go and pick up, yeah, people were smoking. You walk in, it's it's like a legit trap house, and like they're all doing meth, and they're heroin, all that stuff.
So once you try to stop this, it was straight 2 weeks of just being awake.
Yeah, I mean, dude, detox lasts a while, like depending on how bad you are. So it's like, yeah, I would like, I've had very, 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 very bad ones, and I've had they're all terrible, absolutely terrible, but some are like really fucking bad. But yeah, so the first, the rehabs that I went in, my first rehab I was using, I'm pretty sure it was 6 years. So it was 6 years straight, and then went in to my first treatment, and I didn't take any detox meds either. So it was cold turkey, nothing. And a lot of it was just dude, I was just done at that point. I was like, I don't want, and because I give you Suboxone, there's 15 different detox meds that you can take. But a lot of them, you withdraw from those too. So it's Suboxone will ease your pain or whatever, and it'll get you, basically get the opiates out of your system, but it's an opiate itself. So it's then you're tapering off the Suboxone, and then you're literally kicking again. So it's one really fucking terrible one, or one that's, one that's not as, it's more of a.
How would you describe it when you're in that moment of just detoxing and you're taking these other drugs to get the feeling, basically you're, what's the word? You're staggering down in the intensity
tapering
of
down.
drugs.
Yeah. So you're tapering. Tapering's the safest way to do it. I didn't know that when I was doing all this. So, but it's a lot easier on your brain too. And it's cause dude, I'll feel it, 6 months sometimes. Even this last time, it was 6 months until I started feeling more like myself, I would say. And it's it does have to, it's the usage you're doing and the amount of time that you've used, and it's different for everyone. But yeah, for me, but it was, when you're tapering, it's less rough on the brain. what I just described, that took me 6 months, it probably would have lasted 3 months. You know what I mean? Like if I did taper, it wouldn't have been as like harsh and damaging and
the
subtle.
cold turkey is the toughest.
The cold turkey's hard. And it was like, and for me, like because my buddy would bring it up to me all the time. He's like, dude, why the fuck don't you just take Suboxone? And I'm just like, I just don't, at that point, like when I agree, like in my brain, like it's very like, the whole time I'm using, like I don't want to be using, you know what I mean? It's not like I wake up and I'm like, I'm so happy I'm addicted to this shit, you know? It's like I don't want to, and every addict can agree with that. And it's like, but it's very fucking hard to commit to going to treatment. You know, that's a scary thing. Like, you know, once you're there, like you're not getting high, you know, like you don't have anything else, like you're not running anymore. And like a lot of my detoxes were actually,
that's the biggest thing. People just don't want to go because they're just
so
scared of having to stop.
Yeah, dude, the withdrawals are so insane, and especially when you've experienced it before, it's like you don't want to go through it again. And like that's what keeps you going. Like you wake up, you're instantly sick. Like I used to have to wake up in the middle of the night to get high, otherwise I would be sick by the time I woke up. So it was like I couldn't get out of bed.
And your family knew all about that?
Knew all about it, and it was
they were supportive, or what was that process?
I mean, yeah, supportive of like helping me, you know what I mean? So a lot of it was, I mean, I kept a lot of it from them. I'm very secretive about it. Like, that's why it's like, I don't like particularly talking about it a bunch, but it was like, I'm down to now, you know, and like, cause I really think
you're on the other end, man. I mean, dude, you're one of the healthiest people I know.
Yeah. Getting there.
They're like, yo, have you heard of this vegan spot? I'm like, what?
Yeah. Not
That's
vegan,
how you
but we'll dive into that too.
It is bomb though. Vegan food is bomb.
I want to dive into that too. But yeah, I mean, my parents were super supportive about it. I mean, they were just worried. So it's like, I kept everything from them. I went to LA. So I was there, and like they would find out, or my brother would come and like be like, Chase is fucked up. Like, we got to figure something out. Like, it's getting really, really bad. So my mom would call me, and that was like the one thing that was, for me at least, it was like my mom would call and she'd be so fucking worried. So I'd be like, all right, and she's like, just come home and detox. And I'm like, all right, dude, I did it 50 fucking times. The only time I've seen my parents in the past, since I was 20, so I'm 30. And so since like those 7-year gaps from 20 to 27, I would go and visit my parents. The only time I would visit, even on holidays, was when I was detoxing. And that was it. I've never went and visited them clean. So it's like, that's why the dynamic now, like now they just moved to Florida 2 years ago, and it's like, it's different. Like, I'm different. They're different. You know, it's just like we're relearning a lot of things. We're learning how to like exist and like how.
Your parents are awesome.
They're great.
Yeah.
You know, they're awesome.
This guy's parents all of our parents would jive.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But yeah, so I would go home. My mom would call me super worried, and I'd be like, all right, I'll give you 2 weeks. So I would literally fly home knowing sure as fuck I'm getting high as soon as I touch down at LAX. Like,
really?
My dealer is meeting me there. Yeah.
So you're just saying all the shit your mom wants to hear, but knowing.
Yeah, because I don't want them worried. So it was like my biggest thing. I mean, growing up, I was like, it's disappointing. I feel like shit about myself. Like, I don't want, you know, it's just like, I want to make them happy. I want them to at least think that I'm good, you know, and that was my whole thing, was just like, if they ask me how I'm doing, it's always okay. I'm always good. You know what I mean? Even if I'm not, it's just like, it's my problem and I deal with it in my own way. But it was, yeah, dude, I'd go home cold turkey for 2 weeks, go through absolute fucking hell, and then get back on that plane torn up and come back, and I'm still kicking on the plane.
What's that feeling when you do it after going like 2 weeks cold turkey? Is it euphoria?
I mean, it's a relief. Dude, it depends. Like, it used to be great. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, at the time when I started using, and I remember the kid that at the first opiates, so like the first month of, I was 17, the first month of like using drugs or drinking or smoking weed, I did like all the drugs I've ever done in my life in that month period. Like, I just went on I was just like, I'm going to try everything, like randomly. So it's just like, I just did it. And I remember when I was in this kid's house, and we were actually like about to record, and he was like, yo, I have, you know, a Vicodin, like, do you want to try it or whatever? And I was like, fuck yeah. And like, fucking did it, bro. And I remember doing it, and like instantly my first thought was like, I'm going to do this every day for the rest of my life. This is exactly what I need. Like, this makes me feel exactly how I want to feel. And, you know, at the time, granted too, it was just like everyone I was around had something. Like, you know, everyone was taking at least a pill or something to exist, just to like live. And like at the time I didn't have that. And also I was going, you know, there's a lot of family shit going on, and like, you know, it's their stories, my brother's story, so I don't want to dive, you know, kind of like, you know, I don't want to dive too much into that either, but it's like, it was a lot of like traumatic, a lot of dark stuff that from 14 to when I moved, and, you know, when I was 20, when I moved to LA. And it was just like, you know, cops were at the house every week. You know, there was, you know, a death involved. There was like a lot of things. There was prison time. Like, you know, my brother almost did 10 years. And it was just like, it was a whole, there was just a lot of things going on. And, you know, I was kind of like the glue, I would say, for my mom. And you know, it was just like, I didn't have anyone to lean on. So it was just like, eventually it, you know, I thought I was good. I was going to school, putting on a happy face, going home and dealing with all the bullshit at home. And then, you know, eventually like the anxiety started picking up. I was having panic attacks.
Overwhelming.
Dude, I was just like in and out of the hospital. I didn't know what to do. So at 17, it was actually 16. So 16, go to the hospital again. They're like, go to a doctor, you need to see someone, blah, blah. And they prescribed me Xanax. So that was like my first thing of like, you know, and at the time they're like, only take it when you're feeling anxious. And I was like, it's all the fucking time.
Like 24/7.
So I ate them every day, you know, and it was just like, it was my thing. I drove
How many
around
milligrams?
I think it was like, these were like 0.5 milligrams, I think, the ones that they gave me. But I was obviously eating I would finish them for then a month. So it was like, you know, I'm 16. I'm new to this shit. Like I was around it, you know what I mean? Like my brothers always did drugs. Like my brother started using like 11. So it was like, I was always around it. And I didn't like it. And I didn't want that life. I wanted nothing to do with it. But then eventually it was just like, you know, I hit 16, started doing that, and then 17, and then that's when I started like really drinking. And like I wanted nothing to do with it. And I was a straight A student, played soccer, like that was my life, you know. It was like soccer, like I need to make it, I need to do this.
Back then,
like
do you feel
everything.
that like even the time your buddy was like, let me try Vicodin, do you think it's less peer pressure and more just almost just like an activity or slash like an escape of sorts?
It was definitely an escape at the time. Looking back, yeah, at the time though,
it's really interesting to me.
See it as an escape
because so many people are going through such crazy family stuff.
Yeah,
and there's no one ever. Why would you tell people about it? Because it's like your personal
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But I can imagine that there's just, you know, a lot of people are doing it in the closet just because they find it as a coping method.
A lot. There's a lot of people too that I've met and I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like like that's the difference too. Is like when you're an addict and you're using, like you're an addict, like you can tell who's using. You know, and like even if it's not specifically what, it's like that person isn't sober, and it's like I did it for so long, and like I lived in sober livings, and it's like it's behavior.
So you meet someone after a minute, you can almost like know if they're like addicted.
For the most part, yeah. Like I do with Ari all the time, and she's just like, or whatever. I'll bring it up, and she'll either know the person, she'll be like, "You're right," or she'll just be like, "I don't know," you know, because she doesn't know. But it's like, yeah, you have your guesses. I mean, it's really like, dude, addiction is a behavior. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're in that, like I'm a different person when I'm when I'm in active addiction. It's just like, you know, your brain changes. It's like you think differently. You act on things differently. You say things differently, or you know, your viewpoint is different on a lot of things. So it's like, you know, your energy is different. Like everything about it is just different. And it's even if you're clean and you're not like, you haven't done any work really to like get out of it, it's like you still have that mindset. And that's when a lot of people, in my opinion, relapse too. It's just because like they'll get clean and like they're just like living the same way and they're not trying to change, they're not trying to do anything different, and a lot of them, they just don't know how, you know what I mean? But it's like you're in that same behavior, and eventually it's like that behavior just keeps, it's the same thing. It just brings you right back to the, you know, you're just like, your mind's still in that cycle, you know, and it takes months to get out of that cycle. And it's like, I can tell when I'm coming back to it. And like, that's where I'm at now, is like, dude, I still think about using all the time. I mean, I will forever probably. And it's like, but it's like, I can recognize it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like certain days that I have, or some, you know, some days you have off days, and like, I'll be like, or like the way that I act, like I'll know, like or like a way I handle a certain situation. I'm just like, that's not,
because you've been clean for a very long time now, right?
I mean, almost 2 years, you know what I mean?
And you still wake up though and feel it?
Not every day. Like I don't think about it every day, for sure. But there are days for sure when I'm just driving, like, or wherever, you know what I mean? I could be doing anything, but it's like, dude, I've associated using, it's so ingrained in me too, but it's like, I did it for, you know, a long time, a decade. So it's like, it was everything. I wasn't able to do anything without it. Like even doing this shit, like I would never be able to do this without being high. You know, it became that. And in the beginning it was great. Like I would get high and like, it made me more normal. Like I definitely was more on the functional side, but eventually it becomes not functional, you know, and like, and just like things start falling apart.
That seems to be the life cycle of a lot of users, is that in the beginning they feel like it makes them more of who they are, almost. It gives them a power.
And it's fake, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like you're, you know, I was broken before I started using. And then
were you using when I met you back in the Vima days?
Yeah.
Obviously, because we were like, what, 20 years old?
Yeah. Yeah, I was for sure. I remember.
You went clean on that verb for a little bit. And you're just taking some mangosteen.
I guess so.
Chase, would you say if that doctor didn't prescribe you Xanax, you may have said no to that Vicodin when you were 17?
No, I would have done it. I think just because it's like once I started drinking, started doing everything, that's when it like. But for a lot of people, yeah, like that's where it does start, especially opiates, like, or even Xanax too. But it's like a lot of the people that I meet that are opiate addicts, like it started with an injury and they're just so easily, yeah, that's the thing with fucking our system, you know what I mean? With the medicine. And that's something that I did want to bring up was my health stuff and why I'm vegan. It's like, I didn't just wake up and be like, I love animals, like, and I do, but it's like, that's not the reason, you know? And, but it's, you know, you go to the doctor. I've been in the hospital fucking so many times and have had so many health issues where it's like I go in and I have a conversation with someone and not one test is done and they prescribe me a pill. And I'm just like, but you don't really, like, how do you know for sure this is it? And he's just like, well, just try it. And if it doesn't work, come back, we'll give you a new one. And it's like, why would I? And at that, like, you know, everyone does this. I mean, everyone goes to the doctor and you're supposed to trust the doctor. Like, they know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
And it's like, so yeah, to go off of that was, you know, I was super, super sick. And this was over a year ago, I think, when it started. Like, so basically, and from my knowledge, like it did, I don't know the reason. Like, it's not like,
it's still
there's
a little
no
bit
way
unknown.
to know.
Yeah.
But I did do a lot of research on it. And like one of the biggest one is from using, and it's like, you know, prescription medications and specifically. And but yeah, I remember in 2019 it started. Like I could feel it. So
was it also a lot of antibiotics, particularly? Or?
I mean, I definitely have taken a lot of those.
Antibiotics are just the most effed up thing for the human body.
Your body. I mean, dude, it's insane.
Like our parents' generation were screwed in the sense that they just didn't have up to date knowledge of nutrition, so they, you know, just fed us Frosted Flakes and corn toasties because they didn't know any better.
Yeah.
High fructose corn syrup all up in there. Our generation, in the beginning, now people are finding out how to deal with antibiotic use like crazy. If you have a problem, antibiotics.
Yeah.
And antibiotics are amazing for many type of applications, but it became more of a Band-Aid type of prescription when really that should be the last resort.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing is like, so like Western medicine is like, if you're dying, we're amazing. Like you go to the ER, like they will save your life. Like, you know what I mean? Like they will keep you alive. Like I believe like we are the best at that. Everything else is a fucking scam. Like in my eyes, it is though. It's just like, they don't know. Like, so like the stomach problems I was having, I didn't even know if it was even my fucking stomach. They couldn't even tell me that. Like they knew nothing. It's just like, I go in, what are your symptoms? Cool. Here's a prescription. Made it worse or whatever. But it was like, dude, it's insane.
And the worst part too is that the functional medicine side, which both of us are very well, you know, we have a deep understanding because we both had to go through it. It's so expensive because it's not covered by insurance. So every time you roll in there, it's $300-400. And if they don't solve and figure out what you're doing right away, you're just pissed because you spent $300-400 and you have no answers. At least you spend $60 with, you know, your healthcare plan at a normal doctor, but then they're not getting down to the root cause. And it's also interesting seeing my brother become a surgeon. I mean, these are people that decided to become doctors when they were like 16, 17, and 18, right? You don't know anything about life at that age. It's even people that get married in their early 20s still don't know anything about life. Yet you're making a decision that you can't back out of. If you do, you just wasted 5-6 years of life. Right?
Dude.
What are you gonna? And you're already in debt.
So you're gonna just do it.
So eventually, by the time they become doctors, they're just so, their F's are just gone. I feel like there needs to be a better way of becoming a doctor without just evaporating people's senses.
I agree. And like, granted too, so there are medications that I do want to say that like you do need to take, you know what I mean? Like we do have great medicine. It's just like, and it's not even the doctor's fault. It's just what they're taught. Like that's when you go to like, you know what I mean? Like I obviously didn't go to school to be a doctor, but it's like, that's what it's just like, figure out the symptoms, treat the symptoms. And a lot of those prescriptions, they cause other issues, you know what I mean? So then you come back in, all right, now that this is causing this, but it helped that, let's help let's help that symptom with this.
It's really evident with skin problems. If you have like a skin issue, you put a cream on it instead of just clean up your diet, you know?
That's what I mean. A lot of it is that, dude, it's the way of living. Like that's what I've like really, And I'm like super passionate about this shit, like plant medicine, all that stuff. And because dude, I was so miserable, and it was like, so yeah, so just like background too. So all right, so 2019, I remember specifically too. I would wake up every morning and be so nauseous, and I would like I would brush my teeth and almost throw up every morning, and I didn't know what it was. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck it is, like whatever. And I just would go about my day, and I would just keep doing it, and that went on for like a year, and then eventually it ended up, and this is when I started recording, and I remember I'd go out to sessions, dude, and it was like I started getting like pains in my like my upper abdomen, couldn't figure it out, and I was just like, what the fuck is it? Maybe it's the food I'm eating. I don't know. I have no idea. I know nothing about this. Never looked into it. Never had this issue. So I'm like having pains, and then that was when like it was all the gas buildup. So it was like I started burping a lot, and it was just like all the I would burp almost every breath in some days. Like it would be so brutal, but I wouldn't be able to burp all the gas out, so it would just get stuck in my chest. Like I'd wake up, my ribs would be super sore, like everything hurt. And then eventually,
You're like a balloon that won't pop.
Yeah, and then dude, and it was like it got bad. It got really, really bad.
You were in bad shape.
No, I was really bad. I got down to 128 pounds.
Anyone that's even thinking of doing the elemental diet's in bad shape.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know,
100%. And it's like, dude, yeah, it was gnarly. So like,
how tall are you?
6 foot.
You're 128.
I got down to 128. Yeah.
My lowest was like 148, I think.
Yeah.
120.
I got down to 128. Dude, I couldn't get out of bed at one point. It was so fucking bad.
Jeez,
it was really bad. And it was like, dude, it was like an 8-month detox without some of the symptoms. Like, it was just like, I was so, but a lot of it, so like, there's a reason behind that too. But it was like, but yeah, I couldn't figure it out. And I remember, so I dropped my first song, 45. And
Great song,
one,
by the way.
Thank you. And that one has a video. And the night that I shot that video, we're literally like, it was 2 a.m. when we finished. Or like it was like 2:30 in the morning. My buddy Jeremy was at our house, and Ari was there, and Ari started editing it because I was like, I want to drop the shit ASAP. Like this is when I was like going balls to the walls, and now like I've had to settle down, like, and I'll get into that too. But it was like I had to take a step back and not go as crazy because I get obsessive, and it's like, dude, I'm ruining my relationships with people. Like I didn't understand it because it was like I'm starting to figure my life out, you know, and how to live normal in a way of like, you know, it's not about me, you know, all the time, and like what I want, and like this is my goal, and this is like, and I'm willing to do anything to get it, which is like the mindset that they do sell you, you know what I mean? And like this is how you make it, and this is how you become great, you know? And it was like, it was killing me. It really was. So like the night of that video, I remember she's editing, and I got all of a sudden just a crazy sharp pain, and I like sat down on the couch, I remember, and Ari's in there. And my buddy Jeremy, I think he was in the other room, and I like stood up, and I was like, holy fuck, what was that? And I ended up like walk around the couch, and I go in to Ari's room, or to the office, and she's editing, and I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. And she was like, what? And I was like, no, I really think something's wrong. And I was like, and I like started feeling weak. It was just like an intensified feeling. And I ended up like walking, and I was like, just grab your purse. And I started like losing my vision, and I go to walk outside, and I get in the car. I remember like I don't know how the fuck I made it to the car. I could literally, and all of a sudden I just like black out, and I'm conscious. Like I can hear everything, and I can't see, I can't move. And I'm like leaning over. I didn't know where I was.
Are you panicking in that moment, or you just?
No,
like,
I was just like, I didn't know what was happening.
You're like a space cadet.
Yeah. And it just kind of
like,
happened.
Yeah.
And so she brings me to the hospital or whatever, and I go, they keep me overnight. They're like, it's your heart. You have a heart problem. And they're like, so they put me on, they did an EKG, and they were like, all right, nothing was on that, but we got to monitor your heart all night. So they do that. And granted, 4 days before this, I had a fucking appointment to go see a doctor, and they put me on an antacid for my stomach because I was having these pains, and they were like, it's just, you have too much acid in your stomach, whatever we need to give you this, whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was. So they give me that. 4 days later, this happens. So I'm in or whatever. And it was like, so I was having the prom, I'll get to the prom, but it literally just made things a lot worse. That one pill made it a lot worse. So I end up, I'm in the hospital. The GI guy comes in after like the next day, and he's like, all right, what's the problem? What's going on? And I was like, they think it's my heart. And he's like, it's not your heart, I don't think. And he was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Just having it was a 3-minute conversation. He's just like, he's like, I think we need a double dose on the prescription. And I was like, bro, I started that shit 4 days ago, and I'm in the hospital.
That's what the guy's
Swear to
advice
God.
was?
he gave me that, and then he was like, when you get insurance, come see me and we'll try to figure something else out. And I was like, you fucking kidding? And he left, and I was like, I'm out of here. I literally, dude, immediately stood up, and I was like, I'm fucking out. I was like, you guys don't know shit. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I was like, no, it's like no one gives a fuck. And dude, I was so frustrated at this point because it was like, I just dropped my first song. I'm like ready to go. I have songs lined up. I was like, I need to hit the ground running. And I was like, dude, it was just fucking everything up for me. And I was just like, I was just more frustrated than anything. I was like, I just want this to like dealt with. And
yeah,
long
I'm doing
story
it.
short,
I'm with the people that deal with it. Deal with it.
So I threw the prescriptions away. I was like, fuck that. I don't know what it is. And then this is when it was like, I was like, maybe it's just like I'm gonna eat super plain. So I'm eating plain chicken.
I remember that you were just eating straight
rice,
plain chicken,
bro.
yeah.
And that's it. Like even just chicken.
I had mad respect for you for just being able to do that. I remember Ari made taco night, and it was just you were just eating.
Dude,
plain
but
chicken.
it was
even
so
hard
much more
not to-
painful than I feel like I like portrayed it to be too at the time. But it was like, dude, it was bad. Like it was really really bad. And yeah, so I think like another month goes by and it's getting worse.
And just the unknown of it.
Unknown. I mean, it fucked with me, bro. Like I would talk about it all the time. Like not in front
You're
of
like,
people.
am I going to just die soon?
Yeah, that or like I just didn't know. And dude, I'm on the internet. I'm fucking looking up shit. I'm like, is it my kidney? Is it
And
this?
then you go on the internet,
and it's like I've done
you're
enough
dead,
shit
you're
to
dead,
have
you're dead,
damage.
you're dead.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, what haven't we done? And like, and the fucked up thing is, dude, is like at this point I've been to 3 doctors. I was in the hospital overnight. And I had not one test done, not one test besides a heart test, and only a medication that didn't work. And that was the only solution, like the only thing that I had. And I was like, this is it. Like I have to just live with this and hope it passes. Like I don't know what the fuck it is. So then that was when, yeah, I don't remember the timeline specifically, but then yeah, you were like, yo, I dealt with SIBO. Maybe it's that, you know, you should try the elemental diet. And I remember we, you know, obviously I did it. I made it 17 days with that fucking powder shit.
That's so incredible.
Bro, it made it worse for me just because of that. Like, just because I did it wasn't the problem. You know what I mean? So
There
it's like,
had to be some element of healing in that, because the fact is that when your stomach is totally murked and you're just not putting anything bad into your system, there had to be some level of help with that.
well, physically it felt worse for sure. And like the reason, so long story short, yeah. So like,
It's impressive you did too. And
it was gnarly, bro. But that was the worst I've ever like physically without drugs was by far the worst I've ever been in my life. I mean, that was when at the end of that day I was 128 pounds. Dude, I like couldn't
Clearly
function.
you weren't drinking
My
enough,
brain,
too.
like, dude, no, dude, I was a mess. Like my thoughts were scattered. Like I was losing it, dude. I every time I stood up, I would have to I would get up really slowly, hold on. I'd have to have 2 hands on shit, and then I barely could walk to the kitchen, dude.
Well, I feel like
it
an
was,
asshole now.
No. It was, dude. It was very, very gnarly. Like it was really, really bad.
Because the symptoms you were describing me are so much like SIBO.
Yeah,
back in the day.
100%.
And you didn't have anyone else to leverage.
Nothing, dude. I was obviously willing to do it. I'm
You know?
glad you tried to help out. It's nothing against that. It was just like I had no other answer, and I was like, I'm willing to do I'll literally do anything just to like see, like if it fixes it, it was worth the chance for me. So I did it, made it a lot worse, and then the transitioning back onto food was insanely hard. And what I transitioned on was chicken. So I just plain old chicken. I'm eating chicken and I'm getting dude, the pain at this point is unreal. I'm literally getting to a point where I would look at Ari and she looks at me like my parents were fucking freaked out. Like, dude, I was like sucked up. Like my mom was like, you're getting high. And I'm like, I'm fucked up. If I got high right now, I'd die. I swear to God. Like I was like, I'm like really ill. Like, and I don't know what's wrong. And, that was when I went to the chiropractor. I go twice a week to see Josh. He's amazing. And it's Nuka. But that was my first glimpse of functional.
Wait, before you hadn't gone to
No.
Josh?
So I've been going to Josh for a while.
So he was aware of what you were doing the whole time?
He was aware of what was going on. He wasn't really sure either. And I mean, no one did. I mean, it's like not a common thing. I've just today, I didn't meet her yet. I'm going to meet her in Texas. But a girl Ari works with, she has the same fucking problem as me. And I've met anyone else that I've never even heard of this shit. But I'll get to what the problem was. But it was, where was I?
Josh.
Yeah. So I started going to Josh. You know, this was like I was already going to him for like a year and a half, I think. And he's a functional chiropractor. You know, it's chiropractic work, and it's like, dude, it's changed my life. Like it was so
Josh
amazing.
is amazing. Josh is amazing. On the podcast,
and it's not just like the typical rolling around cracking.
No.
It's like it's called Nuka, and it's that they adjust the atlas bone in your neck and it helps.
You're the
align
one who
your body.
turned me on to Josh.
Yeah, bro.
I believe him.
Dude,
If he was closer, I would still go, but it's too much of it. It's 3 hours out of my day.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's just too much. But for anyone within 30 minutes, you'd be insane not to go to Josh.
But it changed. It not only changed my life of like feeling good, but it would like open my eyes to functional medicine, which like before it was just like I really believed in drugs, bro. Like I was like, drugs are the answer. I did, as fucked up as that sounds, but it was just like, this is how it is. Like,
right.
If you need a problem, like this is how we're raised. It's just like you treat the symptom. And I was like, and this whole sickness, bro, is a gift and a curse, because it's like, I don't treat symptoms. Like I figure out what the fuck the problem is and I fix that. You know what I mean? And then let everything heal itself. And that's the same. That's what functional medicine is. So I ended up going to Josh. I remember this too. And Dr. Brown was in there, and I was like, I was so shocked, bro. Like to get to the car to walk inside and get on that fucking table was like, it took everything out of me. Like I was so exhausted. And I remember sitting there, dude. I wasn't me. Like I was just like,
Josh could
emotionless. Yeah, bro. I was sitting there and like they were taking x-rays of me. Like they were really trying to figure out something in the office there. They were like, dude, you look malnourished. Like you're not like something, like you have an immune problem or something. Like I was like, dude, it was really, really bad. Like I looked really, really shitty too. And but anyways, like Josh knows this functional doctor in Atlanta. And I was like, and he was like, I think you should go. And like for a little bit, I was like, fuck, bro, I gotta fly to Atlanta. And like, I mean, at this point, I was like, I'm willing to do whatever it is. So whatever. I emailed the guy. He said, I think it was like a 2-month wait. And I was like, I don't have 2 months. Like, I don't. Like, I'm telling you, bro, like, I literally won't make it 2 months. And like, so ends up, I talked to him, and Josh helped with, because he's the one that connected me, and they know each other. And like, so I ended up getting in like the next, I think it was like 2 weeks. So I ended up flying to Atlanta. I go in, and I'm expecting like answers right there. You know what I mean? Fucking fix me, like what's wrong with me? So we go in, and he just, you know, I have to go through my whole story, which like I didn't do for a long time at this point too, which was funny because like Ari's in the room and I look like fucking shit, and like Ari's like, they're looking at Ari like she's like the shit, you know what I mean? And I look like the fucked up boyfriend. Like I'm just like, something's wrong with me. So like he literally, so it's two doctors in the room. No, it was actually hilarious. Like the two doctors in the room, and they're like, all right, tell me your whole story from birth. And I was like each year, what were you doing? And I was like, all right, well, we can skip to fucking 14, you know? And then I was like, well, this is what happened. This is what happened. And then I was like, start using drugs at 17. And he was like, all right, when you're 18, yeah, I was still using drugs. 19, yeah, I was still using drugs. 20, yeah. And I was like, all right, let's just be, I was like, till I was 27, like I've been high. And like, and he literally was just
what is his face when you're telling him this?
He was like kind of laughing, and he just kept like boosting Ari, like, yeah, like you definitely help him out, you know, like you're the one that saved him, right? Or like, you know what I mean? Just like funny shit or whatever. But yeah, he was just, after the convo, he was just like, so he's like, I'm used to seeing like people in their 50s and 60s. And he was like, you've done pretty much more damage than them in a small amount of time. And he was like, dude, like the amount of toxins you put in your body, the amount of like, you really put your body through the ringer, you know? And he was like, you know, and that was why I brought up I was like, I took the elemental diet, I did these things, and he was like, it was super dangerous for you to do that, because it basically like when you're starving your bacteria in your intestines and all of that stuff. So he was like, you weren't just starving like the bad bacteria, it was like you had toxin buildup, and it just released it all at once.
It was too fast.
It was too fast
so
for your body.
Hypothetically, the elemental diet was good, but you just had such a bad case that it was just like,
it was bad, but it was also the condition.
The
so the condition I was in when I took it, I was already fucked. So he was like, your body, your immune system was so low, you have no, and like they ended up they did a bunch of tests. So like the way the functional doctors work, like you go in there and it's basically like a physical,
like GI map and everything.
Yeah, kind of like,
yeah, to poop and stuff.
Yeah, so they they test for everything. It's all different levels in your body. They test the metals in your body, everything. They test your urine to see just any toxins.
Did you just stay in Atlanta while they did that?
No. So I flew up there for a day. So I went up there. I did all these. It was basically a take-home test too. So like I go in there, they do the physical. I go through. They want to meet you, and just like have the conversation, go through your story, so he can get a better idea of like what's going on and like what could probably cause it. And he was like, this is probably having to do with the drugs, and like you just ruined your whole fucking GI, you know. And he's like, we won't know until we run the test. So ends up there was, you know, I got sent home. Next day I do 5 to 7 different tests.
He gave you like a short treatment plan, just like kind of like, yo, eat this and this, and
not until we got the test back. So it was like, we got to wait. So it took 2 more weeks to get the test
But
back.
did he tell you anything just in the
Nothing.
next week just to help you?
No.
Like, was he like, yo, coconut water, bro?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
Because he didn't know. He was like, I don't want to tell you to do something because I don't know what's going on. And like, obviously, like, drink water and shit. Like, yeah, like the normal stuff. But it was like, he didn't have any fucking medical advice, you know? And like, but that's a crazy thing with functional shit. It's just like, dude, like, figure out where the imbalances are in your body. So I send these tests back, and then he gives you a routine to fix them. So it's like, and I'm so used to just like getting prescribed something. I'm like, just give me something because I want it fixed. And that's everyone's mentality. It's just like, if I can just master this shit and go about my life and let it not affect me, let's do that. You know, it's the quick and easy way to do it, but it's not sustainable and it doesn't last. And dude, it's with every antidepressants, all these things, like they don't fix your shit. They just suppress it. That's it. So it's like, eventually you're going to have to face whatever it is that you're dealing with. So ends up, I get the test back. Dude, I have no vitamin E in my system. I have no vitamin D, like literally almost zero. Like, all my shit's fucked up. My cortisol level, there was a graph. It wasn't even on the graph. He was like, it's this graph times 3 and yours is up here. And he was like, that's super fucking dangerous to have it up there. And he was like, basically what you're feeling, he described it perfectly without me even saying how I was feeling. But he was like, you're in fight or flight mode. And he was like, you were constantly in fight mode, like constantly. And he was like, so you're literally waking up, because I would tell him I'm waking up almost in a panic every day. And it's like, I feel like I'm going 100 miles per hour when I'm not even moving. You know, it's like, I'm constantly like, it was so much more psychological too. It wasn't just the physical shit. It was like, I was going crazy. And so we've ended up in my urine, there was a toxin, and I don't remember the name of it, but it's a toxin that, when your body doesn't break animal protein down, it rots in your body. So it doesn't digest, it just sits, it rots, and then it releases a toxin in your body, and it slowly is like, I don't know if
it's not like H. pylori or anything.
No, it's not H. pylori. So, but it's just like, it's basically a condition where like your body, and I don't know the reasoning behind it, I don't know any of that, but basically my problem, there was other things that he did find, and it all kind of like went into the same routine of cutting certain things out and whatnot. Because at the time I was just like, I'm eating like literally plain chicken, and granted every meal was either plain chicken or eggs, and it was all animal protein. So it was like, even when I got off the elemental diet, I'm eating those things, and it's making me sicker, and it's putting more toxins in my body. So it was like all these simple things that I'm doing, and I'm like, maybe it's not the food.
That's interesting, because that's actually like, for me, it was like broccoli and cauliflower and stuff like that. Like, if I ate more greens, it made me feel worse, and animal protein on the flip side is actually what balanced me.
Yeah, see, everyone's different too, and it's like, I'm not like this forever. And like, I do want to eventually expand, you know, like,
so basically he identified though that your body's not able to break down the protein.
Exactly. And it was basically that.
This sounds so shitty, bro.
No, it did. I mean, for me at the you gotta think though, it's like, if you're just like a normal like guy going about your day,
the whole time you were still putting out music, you were still you were
still working, I was still recording,
hustling.
Dude. I remember I literally, in the middle of this shit too, I was so bad, flew to LA, I was like, fuck this, I'm going to record. And I like go to LA,
my dreams ain't waiting.
Yeah, with my buddy Avery, dude. We're in the studio, and like, it became so bad where I would have such shortness of breath because of the buildup of the gas, so I wouldn't be able to take deep breaths. And this was like majority of the time I wouldn't be able to do this.
And you can't even really explain it to people too.
I can't, dude. It's so the pressure, but it also makes you lightheaded at times. When the pressure really builds, like, I'd have to sit down. Like, it was just like, dude, my body was just fucked, and like, I knew it was. I just was like, I need to power through this. Like, I can get through it. So it's just like, I was just like in that fight mode.
You have a really
big
pain tolerance.
Yeah, dude, I would just power through it. And like, so I remember being in the studio, and dude, it was like the first hour, I booked like 20 hours. I was like ready to go. And I get in there, and I'm like trying to sing, and I can't finish lines because I'm like, I can't catch my breath. And like, I remember like they talk, you know, in my headphones, and they were like, yo, are you good? And I was like, I mean, dude, I'm trying. I was like, why, I sound like shit? and he was like, dude, like, it sounds like you're like struggling for breath. And I was like, and I wasn't feeling good that day at all. And I was like, he was like, just come out here and chill for a sec. So I go out there, and I'm chilling, like, and I'm like, all right, maybe I just need, like, maybe it'll pass a little bit, like, because it would go in waves, like, where it was really bad, and then it would be like bad, like, it was never
just
good.
Like, dudes, just to let you know, I've been sick, I gotta go.
They knew, and like, so like, and then I think like 10 minutes go by, and it got worse, because some days would be a lot worse too. And this was before I knew what it was too. This is before I knew it was meat. So it's like, I definitely just ate meat, like a chicken wrap or something.
But your stuff's being analyzed at this point.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're like, yo, the train's in motion. Let's go get some tracks.
So yeah, we did that, and then I ended up going to the urgent care that day. And like, dude, I got like really like I stood up and almost passed out, and I had to like sit down. Neighbor was like, "I'm bringing you to the urgent care." I was like, "All right," and like we went there, and same shit, same. They tried to give me the same prescription, and it was the same, just a different type of one. And I was like, I already did those; they don't work. And I was like, all right, fuck it. And I was like, dude, there's no point in going.
Probably
to the
could have
doctors
just used
anymore.
some Pedialyte at that point.
Yeah, something. But it was just, dude. But like, yeah, that's what it came down to. So because of not digesting the chicken or any animal protein, my body, and it was releasing all these toxins. It wasn't any greens or any like vitamins that I was eating. My body wasn't retaining any nutrients either. So that's why I had no vitamin C, no vitamin E, and dude, I had like nothing. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, I was just depleted. Like
I feel
I
you.
didn't have it. So like the answer, which I did not like this answer at all, but it was like there wasn't. So like the treatment. You know,
This is what
I mean?
your doctor said.
This is what he said. So he was like, your plan to start feeling better is gonna take like 9 months. And he said that, dude, and I literally was like, I just gave you fucking like thousands of dollars for you to tell me that. You know, I was like, fuck, like 9 months. Like I was like, and at this point I was already like, I was months into this already. You know what I mean? And I just figured out what it was, but I was like, he was like, cut out all animal protein. So he was like, it's gonna take a long time for your body to heal. Like you got, and that's the thing with functional, dude. It's the harder route. You know what I mean? But it's the most beneficial. It's for your body. Like you know, when you do get through it and you get through it on the other side, you're stronger than you were. You know what I mean? And you learned a lesson, and you had to earn it. You know what I mean? In a way, and I'm big on that, like on suffering. Like I like earning my shit. Like whatever I'm doing. The same thing with music. Like even if 45 first song I dropped and it popped, I almost would like be like, you know, obviously it would be great. Like I don't want to. I'm not like saying it wouldn't. But it's like I want to put the work in, and I want to be in a place where like I've like mastered what I'm doing and then be able to like step up in that position and feel like I deserve it, and I feel like I belong there.
Just take a step back. You kind of jumped forward there.
Yeah.
Because they're like, he gives you the 9-month diagnosis.
So the 9-month diagnosis. So basically it's cut out the animal protein. And then he gave me like a yoga regimen every morning because it was like the cortisol. The cortisol was like out of the park. Like he was like, we have to figure out how to handle that. And he was like, so like I know you're, you know, whatever. I was working and making music. I was doing a lot of stuff. And I was like, he was like, I know your life's like chaotic, but he was like, you have to like cut everything in half. And like that was hard for me because it was like I just dropped, you know, I think at this point it was like my second song, and I was like, fuck, like I don't want to slow down, you know. And like, but that was like something I'm still dealing with, and like I've gotten a lot better at, especially like I've really tried the past 2 months to like be like just almost like sit back and not have to do things in a way of like, which is hard. And like sometimes I'm like, I feel lazy and I don't like that, or like I didn't leave the house today, which is like doesn't happen often, but it's like I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of that. But it's like it's basically just finding other things too, finding a different hobby, like finding certain things just to balance. And like I don't do well with balance. Like balance isn't my thing. So he basically was like, you just have to slow down and let yourself heal. So especially for the cortisol, for the stress levels. So yeah, dude, I'd wake up and I
So you're on a plant-based diet.
Plant-based diet.
Is he giving you any multivitamins?
The only
or anything?
vitamins, yeah, he gave me 2. One of them was like
You only had 2? Only 2 pills?
2, dude. Only 2.
So he was just
one was like a vitamin C pill.
So what was like a breakfast look like?
A breakfast would be, dude, I eat the same thing every day still, pretty much.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No, and I'm like cool with that. I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
So it's like I eat basically like I love Mexican food, so like I eat taco bowls. So it's like rice, and granted, when I did start this diet, I didn't even do plant-based proteins. I did no proteins. Like I just cut everything out because I was like, maybe this will speed it up. Like I'm thinking of shortcuts. So it's like I'm literally eating like veggies, rice, you know, and like in the beginning it took me a while to get like even just to rebuild a little bit. But like as soon as I started cutting animal protein out, like I did feel a difference. Still felt like shit, but it was like I did feel a little bit of a difference. And I still have it. I mean, it's been almost a year now, and I still deal with it. And like a lot of it's the overeating. So it's it's crazy,
big, yeah,
massive. So
I
it's like,
screw that up all the time.
Me too.
I did it last time with Chinese food.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it happens. But like the biggest thing with him is like, dude, it's basically a plan of like this is how a human being at like 100% functional. Like if you want to be like a perfect human being and like optimal, I don't even know the word for it really, but it's like this is how you should live. So it's like, go to bed, be in bed by 10 p.m. Wake up by 8 a.m. The first thing you should do is brush your teeth, and I did this like religiously, and then go in the other room or whatever, wherever you want to go, and it's like 30 minutes of yoga, and it's like a specific routine. He gave me a book, and so I would do that. So I would do like 30 minutes of that. Then you get up, and then from that, and then make breakfast, and like so I would do, and like you can. So he basically was like, don't eat meal. He said I could eat up to 3 meals a day. Don't eat over 3 meals. But he was like, I basically still do kind of for the most part. Like I eat 2 to 3, but your last meal should be before 5:30. So he was like, do not eat past 5:30 p.m. and then be in bed by 10. So like that way it's like you're in a digestive state where you're not like it's very bad to go like to eat and then go right to sleep.
I mean that's the facts.
Yeah,
that's facts.
And and like he's telling me this stuff and I'm like, I feel like I could have Googled it, you know what I mean, in a way. But it's like it's true. And like even just, dude, if you really stick to certain
so you started like, these are just some of the tips he told you. So you followed this plan for 9 months.
This was my plan. Like this was, in which I
and then month one, how did you feel after that?
Dude, it was a slow increase of feeling better, like slow. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and like whatever. It's like I almost haven't even noticed. Like I woke up, I think I talked to Ari, like I brought it up like 6 weeks ago even, and I was like, holy shit, like it was probably a little longer than that.
Yeah, I have energy.
Yeah, like certain things like I would notice, but it was such a gradual thing. And it's same thing with detox. Like it was like I almost was trained to go through this shit, like I swear to God. But it was like it's such a slow, gradual, like, oh, I'm feeling better. And then I like, dude, in the beginning, I would eat like 3 things for the first like 3 months. You know what I mean? It was like broccoli, it was like certain veggies, and I was scared to add certain things in. I was just like, this is working for now, so let's just keep
I feel you on that.
You know what I mean? I was scared. I was like, I don't know what to do. And like, and Ari would be like, well, this is a plant protein, you should eat this. Or like beans. Like I was scared to eat beans even. I was just like, I don't know. Like, what if I go through another episode? Like I would have like these episodes of like crazy like burp attacks too. Dude, it was like insane. Like it was so painful, and it was just like,
I remember I was having a lot of pain under right here, and it was my gallbladder.
Yeah.
And they did the scan, and I had gallbladder sludge, which is basically like micro gallbladder stones.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean you have to get your gallbladder out, but gallbladder surgery is one of the most common surgeries in America because surgeons want to cut that shit out.
Yeah.
But the reality is that's not the case. You can definitely go on without cutting out your gallbladder.
Exactly.
But it's a quick fix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a quick fix. I mean, that's what you want, and it makes money. I mean, surgeries are massively profitable. I mean,
so
it's
profitable,
insane, bro. Anything insurance based. So it's like that's the route they go immediately. You know what I mean? It's just like we can solve it right now. You know, people want shit done right now. And it was like, for me, it was like, there wasn't another alternative, you know what I mean? Like, which like at the time I probably would have done both at the same time. Like I was so miserable, but it was like, this was the only thing I had to do. And this was it. So dude, I did it religiously, slowly brought things in. I think like it's been almost a year. Like, I don't know, 5 months ago is probably when I started adding in animal protein or plant-based proteins.
So you're doing like tofu?
Yeah, I do tofu. I do like the soy meats and
Is
stuff,
lentils
which
protein?
Is probably amazing. Like
beans.
Yeah, beans. Yeah, all that stuff. So it's like, and there's like, dude, there's amazing. Like we live in South Florida. Amazing vegan restaurants.
The vegan restaurants here are so
dude,
fire.
it's insane.
They're
so
insane.
and like all the places I go to, LA, I'm covered. You know, and like sometimes I travel to other places, and it's like very hard. You know, especially if I'm in a hotel and there's no kitchen. It's like, fuck.
So where are you today? How are you feeling today?
Feel good. Like I feel good. Like I have.
You're playing 5 hours of pickleball. You must feel pretty good.
Dude, amazing. Pickleball's amazing.
Pickleball's life.
I love it.
It's the fastest growing sport in America right now.
It is.
It's almost going to become like annoying how popular it is because you're never going to be able to play because every court's going to be taken.
It's going to be wild. But they're expanding like crazy, bro. They're about to build
true.
a crazy indoor facility too, and yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I feel good. Like I do, and it's like I'm not fully out of it. And like he told me too, he was like, because I'm still in touch with him. I still like have to do tests like every few months.
But you can still like drink now occasionally, and
Yeah.
like you have like a normalish life.
Yes, way more normal. Like before, I couldn't do anything. I literally couldn't do anything. I was scared to get on a plane. Because I didn't know how I would react when I landed, or like if I was going through something, I had to stay extra days. Like it's just more money. I don't know. It was just
How does it feel to not wake up in complete pain every day?
It's great. But like anything else, dude, you adapt. You know, we all
Totally.
adapt, and it's the same thing with addiction. It's like I have to remind myself. It's like the same thing with a lot of things. It's like, you know, people go through shit in their life, and like for that period, you look at the life different, and then you start, you know, depending on who you're around or the things you're doing, or you get caught up. It's life, or social media, whatever it is, and you forget, you know, and like especially for me, like I feel like like this is the longest stint without opiates I've ever had, and like granted I smoked weed through it, not gonna lie, like I do drink occasionally too, and like it's not for everyone, like it's risky regardless for me, like even just doing those things.
Well, weed.
Yeah, because it's like, dude, any like mind altering, and it's like for me it did help. It just
so it's
depends.
mind altering in the sense that like it might trigger maybe something.
Yeah, and it's not even like a trigger really. It's just like it's you know, I have to watch myself. If I'm using it to like escape, it's a problem for sure with anything.
That makes sense.
So it's like rather than like using it because like even hallucinogenics I got into it, like mushrooms and all that, and it's like it's different perspectives.
It's definitely good to fasting is so good for us.
Yeah.
Generally, as people, we should all fast. Like people that fast are just way healthier in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Even recently, I found myself for like the first time, like just like aggressively smoking. Like normally, like I always I smoke like 1 or 2 rips and I'm good. You know, I feel like I'm 15 and I just smoked weed for the first time and I'm a giggle monster. But then I realized I was like taking fat rips like every hour until I just pass out and I'd wake up and I was like, what am I doing right now?
Yeah.
I'm getting in this weird loop. So I just stopped smoking weed for the last 3 days and I'll definitely smoke again, but you need to fast sometimes to remind your body like, yo, this is candy and candy needs to be respected.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing is like, dude, because I have friends that bring it up to me that are like, I've been potheads for a long time, never got into anything else. And they'll just ask my opinion on it. I'm like, dude, if you think it's a problem, it probably is. You know what I mean?
That's a great answer.
If you think it is, or if you're questioning it. But it's like, at the end of the day, dude, life is like, you're trying to be happy. That's the goal. You know, that's like what everyone strives to be, whatever that looks like. So it's like, if it's getting in the way of that, like that's what everything I do now is like, that's what's on my mind. Any like venture I want to get into, anything that I'm doing, it's like, if it's going to take away from that, I don't really want to do it. You know, I don't.
That's interesting concept about life is to be happy, because you go through these stints where you're happy. It might be because you did drugs, or it might be because you sold a business, or like you close a sale or whatever, and you're so fired. Like, selling a business is not a terrible example. That's like a once in a lifetime experience, right? Maybe a few times. But you have this like excitement and you're really fired up, but it's short lived because it's built on a shit foundation.
Yes.
So going through incredible pain and suffering throughout your life with health, for me, my eyes, my stomach, the tumor in my leg, like these situations where you don't know if life's ever going to be the same.
No.
And you're scared. And I remember I would cry like hysterically to my dad on the phone. Like, what the fuck's wrong? Like, I'm done. Like, how am I ever going to feel better again? Yeah. And it rips you apart. But it's like,
you need that.
When you're on the other side, you realize that it was everything, because now you're even that much more grateful. You're that much more stoked. It built you who you are. You have more empathy. Yeah. But I found back when I was dealing with my health issues, the number one thing that limited me was not having a plan. When you don't have a plan, it really fucks with your head. Yeah. So for me, like when I was on my whole elemental diet stuff and all that, I mean, it was my 7th MRI, when I finally identified the tumor in my leg, which was a peripheral sheath nerve tumor going on the leg, which was causing the sciatica, even though I was treating the back for a full year. So it was just progressively getting worse because we were treating the wrong thing. Because to the doctor's credit, most people are suffering with what I had, a bulging disc. But when I didn't have a plan, I was just in such despair. But when I had a plan, meaning like I had another doctor's appointment, or I had another naturopath appointment, or I had another thing, I used that and I rallied behind it, and it made life okay. Yeah. So that's like, I think my biggest lesson from it is just, you need to always keep a new plan in motion, because just because someone tells you something, you have to understand it's not your end all be all. Yeah. They're only giving you their advice based on what they've seen in their lifetime. And you may be different. For me, this was the first time they've ever seen this in someone's like leg. It was a neurosurgeon at the Ronald Reagan, I think, is the hospital in LA. It was legit. So, well, for you, what was that for you? Like, if you had to think about the one thing that helped you get through all of this, like what would you attribute that?
Like the food stuff?
Just like all these struggles that you've had in your
I mean,
life.
dude, the thing, like, they're never gonna end. That's the thing. Like, the way that I grew up in chaos, and like, it was like, I get over things quickly, very quickly, and that's just like because I had to. Like, I'll literally like analyze something, figure out the solution, over it. Like, I really don't think about a lot of the stuff, and it's like, dude, life is like, this is just what life is. Like, you're always gonna have struggles. Like, that's what you want. Like, you want suffering. Like, without friction or suffering in your life, like, you're in what, like, that was the biggest thing, getting clean. And this is something I struggle with. Yeah, with Ari a lot too. It's just like things got good. Like, they did. Like, when I first got, when I first moved down here, I got clean, and I was like, and I did fuck up again since and that, or whatever. But it was like, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, you guys had a good life.
Dude,
I
it was
remember
great.
going there. I was like, damn.
No, this was before that. This was in the apartment in Aventura,
okay.
and this was before, and I was just, but like, things were not chaotic, and like, I was so, dude, I lived in LA for 7 years, and I didn't sign one lease. You know, I would sleep in my car some nights. Like, it was just like, my life was chaotic, but I thrived in it.
That's savage.
I thrived in it, and it was just like, so I thought, you know what I mean? Like, I became comfortable with it, and then all of a sudden, I obtained certain things, and then I'm like, what now? Like, you know what I mean? And it was an uncomfortable feeling. I was waiting for something bad to happen, and there was nothing there, you know? And it was just like, but then I had to realize that was when I got really into fitness, and really, like, dude, I would kill myself. I would do 3-a-days. Like, I was training for boxing. I was doing all of these things, going 100 miles per hour, but they were tough. And it was just like, that's where I found this friction. And it was like, I would put my body or my mind, I would keep testing it every day or doing certain things. And that's what would, like, it would give me that relief, you know what I mean, in a way.
Which is healthy.
It's healthy. That's, yeah, 100%. But it was like, dude, struggles, like, it's just, I'm very, like, solution based now. It's just like, if there's a fucking problem, how do we fix it?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and talk. I don't even want to talk about it. It's just like, this is the issue. All right, this is the solution.
Yeah, and most people don't figure out a solution until it gets too bad, and that's just the truth is. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a bad habit, you don't change it until shit hits the fan.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how it is, you know? Your health is, if you're able to eat whatever you want now, shit will hit the fan eventually, and then you'll fix it.
Yeah. But dude, happiness is a tough topic, because I deal with it even within my family.
I think dogs are close. I think dogs are the close to the answer to happiness.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, I mean, dude, unconditional love.
No, they're amazing.
I mean, I've watched every video on YouTube for the Bucerin, getting them in January now. I'm just waiting for it.
Dude, it's
but
amazing.
Unconditional love. You got 2 pups now.
Yep, I got 2.
You go to the homies are just like, what's up?
Yeah.
All they care about is you and only
That's
you.
it.
They just want to love you. They just want to say what up.
I mean, their life is us, you know.
Yeah,
like,
they're
without
stoked.
us-
They take a poop. They're stoked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can learn a lot.
Yeah, man. I know.
It all comes down to the 4-legged creatures. I think people were supposed to just grow up with animals because it's in our nature.
Yeah.
You know, we got too civilized. Everything became too. Even when you go camping, it's such a great feeling when you're sleeping in a tent and you just hear the noises and you wake up and there's just your car and nothing else. The campfire. It's very freeing. You don't think about your phone because you go into this primitive state where you're like, whoa, I gotta be on my game. You know, what if friggin'
Dude, it's exhausting. It is. Social media, all that.
It
It's
is
like,
exhausting.
I hate it. I don't enjoy it. And it's like the more deeper you dive into it, the further you get more attached. Like, the more connected you get within social media, the less connected you get with yourself, in a way. You know, it's like, that's how I feel about it, where it's like, dude, I'll like go a week going sore with social media, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? And it's like, obviously for the cause, but it's like, it doesn't just end. You know what I mean? You don't just like hit it with social media, or video goes viral and like you're good. It's like you have to
Sky stopped Instagram completely because
yeah, dude, you got to keep up with it. You have to
it.
double down when shit starts going, and then it's just like, and that's where I'm thinking is just like, all right, how do I maneuver? And like, I'm starting to think of other ventures too that I want to get into, but it's like,
you should bring someone on your team to help you.
yeah, no, that definitely would help for sure. It would definitely help. But it's like a lot of it, yeah, dude, it's like what it comes with. And like, I never, like, especially getting into music, it was like, I really just wanted to make a good product. Like, that was really my goal in the beginning, was just like, I want to make the best music for me, like, that I can make, and just like see what I'm capable of, really. And like, started doing that. And then I obviously was like, okay, I think I could really do this shit. And then that was when I started getting into all the other aspects of it. And it's like, the further along I go, it's like, the less I want to do those things, or like even have to deal with the certain things, or like even having like, I don't know, dude, it's a lot. It comes with a lot, and it's like life changing in many ways, you know, but it's like, I'm still gonna do it, you know what I mean? It's still gonna do it at the end of the day, but it's like, it's just like, it's a lot less glamorous, I feel like, than people really see it, you know, and I'm not even there, like not even close. And it's like, but it's like, you can just see it, like celebrities and all that stuff. Like we're so much closer to that, and we can really see, like, everyone has fucking problems, bro, everyone. And it's like, you know, there's no right or wrong way to live.
I learned that a lot, even with my mom passing recently, like just talking about, you know, some of her struggles, just like mental illness is a very real thing.
Yeah.
And talking about it with my friends, and just, you know, you join this crew of like people who have lost family members, and you realize it's so much bigger than you've ever known. Like I never really lost anyone in my life, like significant. I was very young when I lost like one of my cousins, so I don't really even remember it. But you realize that like most families are pretty fucked up.
Most of them,
like 5 out of 10 probably,
dude.
You know.
And I have friends, dude, it's crazy, and it doesn't matter. Money doesn't change it. It really doesn't. And if anything, it adds more, like, I swear. And it's like, I have a lot of rich friends, I have a lot of poor friends, you know. And it's like, I look at both, and it's like, dude, there's no perfect fucking family. There isn't. And like, I've never met one. And it's like, even if it is, or it seems it's fake, like, it's just not like, dude, it's everything nowadays is like really exposed, and you can kind of see more into people's lives, like, and just through social media or whatever. But it's like,
and even when people say, well, you want to share more of the realness, it's tough. I think the only person I've ever found that's really good at it is Aubrey Maurice guy. She's the best at being like, still being viral, but being depressing about like really serious topics.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, I don't want to go on social media and just hear someone like cry and complain all day. You don't want to do that. I want to watch a meme of like, you know, Florida gas prices now being used by jet skis, you know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's tough. Like, it's to be in the public eye and do all that stuff is fucking, it can't be easy. You know what I mean?
It can't be easy.
It can't be easy.
Yeah, and it's tough too. It's going to be tougher for you. Fact is that you're older and more mature, so you're less into the game. You know?
Yeah, like
when you're like 16,
yeah,
you're
just willing
TikTok
to just
all
be
day.
Like, fuck it. You know, what
way
I mean?
cooler than school. You know?
Yeah, but it's like, it's just like I value things differently now. You know, and I'm at an age.
But
where
you have
like,
a really good business mindset where you can flip anything, and you're just always been a hustler. Like, it's just in your nature, so you could build any business you want. So you'll be good no matter what. Like, you could land on your face and be 40 years old and come back and be the most successful person. I truly believe that, because your addictive personality, you don't stop. Yeah. You just get you on the right path, which right now it's music. It's been really good for you. Mm-hmm. You're making great music. People are loving your shit. People being myself. Mm-hmm. I love it. And the squad's great. You got Josh. You have an amazing life right now set up for you. Yeah. You're in a really stable, good place surrounded by people who love you. Yeah. And that's pretty awesome.
Dude, I'm grateful.
You've come a long way.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's different, way different than it ever was, you know. And I do, dude, I'm super grateful. Grateful for everyone in my life. Grateful for everything I have. And it's like, yeah, dude. Love it.
And now it's 6:40 right now. So if we ended this pod right now and we got to the pickleball courts, it'd be like 7, and like sundown is at 7:20, and it kind of sucks when it's dark. So we have to figure that out. But pickleball's a vibe.
Love pickleball.
Pickleball's tight. Hurricanes are not the vibe, but
no.
Floridians, you know.
Pickleball is crazy though.
Yeah, it's just growing so fast. I played yesterday, and
where do you see it going?
I see it becoming like, it's gonna be like as big as like Major League Gaming. You know how Major League Gaming has
Major League Gaming's like really big. Like,
I think pickleball is gonna get as big as Major League Gaming. I don't think watching matches is gonna be that big, but I think the amount of people playing is gonna be like that.
Like, anyone can really. Play.
What's great about pickleball is it attracts the straight scrub athletes of the world that just, you know, like, let's play some pickleball. And it also takes like the Roger Federers who are like bored of tennis and want something new.
Insane. Yeah.
So now it's like merging these groups, and like in the people that play, the community aspect is amazing. Yeah. Like, for this party I'm having this weekend, it's like I have all these pickleball squads coming, and they're like, I don't know them all that well, but they seem great.
Yeah.
Like they seem like great people.
Dude, it's awesome. And it's super social. Like it's a very social sport where it's like
You can just go by yourself.
I go by myself all the
You go
time.
by yourself and just kind of play
And
pickup.
you hop
It's
in a
like,
game,
it's
you
like
meet
playing
people.
pickup. The only
Dude,
pickup
yeah.
sport I know is like basketball, and that's
it. And dude, like literally, I live in
my
Pompano.
jump shot's non-existent.
No. But dude, we have 12 courts in Pompano, and I literally go there every day, and no one's at the basketball court. Like there was, out of like this past month, like 2 nights, I was like, holy shit, someone's playing basketball. It's like everyone.
You ever Ernie'd someone?
Not yet.
I like half Ernie'd someone, but I didn't. It wasn't like as dope of an Ernie as you'd want it to be.
That's fire.
Yeah. If you don't know what an Ernie is, just look it up, you noob.
Yeah, you just got to jump over the kitchen. If you don't know what the kitchen is, look it up.
Yeah, you can't take the heat. Get out the kitchen.
But
All right, man. But I think this has been amazing. I'm really stoked that you shared that entire story. I mean, it's been just a crazy journey, and there's just a chapter in your story. I think people need to hear that more, though.
Yeah.
Even telling the story about the functional medicine thing. I mean, in your plant-based lifestyle now, I mean, you could even somehow merge that at some level with creativity and all that stuff because you're passionate about it.
I love the functional medicine. Like that's something I'm definitely interested in, and like even just bringing awareness to it because it's not just like gut health. It's like it's mental health. It's all these things. Like
everything stems from your gut,
dude.
How you think is based on how you eat. Like I ate Chinese food last night because I've just been stoked on egg rolls, and like fried rice is so fire. And I this whole day I had like sort of the chills. You know, I just felt like shit because it's straight GMOs. And Sky, you said it. You're like GMOs. I'm like, damn.
John's like, this is good chicken. I'm like, GMO chicken.
It is. I mean, it's
What do you mean?
I mean, that shit was as GMO'd as it gets. Crushed 2 smoothies today, though. We gooch. Anyways, it's been real. Let's run it back again. This is the Damn Good Day Show. Chase Bosworth. How can people follow you on the soch?
Chase Bosworth on everything.
This is a damn good day to have a damn good day.